Chapter 6. The Lists. The lists began before most of the world understood it was already too late. At Ark Facility 12, nobody called them lists aloud at first. They were manifests, continuity allocations, activation tiers, authorized personnel notifications, cryo-prep routing, essential specialist recall, link confirmation trees, helix viability imports. Bureaucracy always tried to rename guilt until it sounded operational. It was still guilt. Noah stood in continuity operations and watched it spread across the central wall. White text, amber tags, column after column of names moving downward in silent succession. Tier 1 authorized personnel recall. Tier 2 family-linked continuity access. Tier 3 strategic retention candidates. Link recall confirmed. Link recall unanswered. Biometric conflict. Continuity channel failed. Unconfirmed status. Location pending. Declined. Unreachable. Deceased. The final category had appeared less than 12 minutes ago. Noah hated that it already looked normal. All around him, Ark Facility 12 had tipped fully from preparation into implementation. No more theoretical language. No more simulation posture. No more hidden comfort in believing the project might remain forever incomplete because the world would never need it. Now the facility roared. Staff moved in hard, efficient lines between consoles and lift banks. Drones carried cryo-shell housings across the high bays. Robotic arms worked without pause in the great central cavern. Even now, absurdly and desperately, the Ark was still being finished while it was being prepared to save lives. Every overhead display carried some version of the same truth. Arkfall protocol active. The phrase had once sounded melodramatic to Noah. Now it felt too small. He stood at the comms allocation rail with the command channel open inside his link. Urgent voices layered behind one eye as he moved through recall trees with one hand. The other gripped a hard copy manifest full of continuity names. Hard copy? Because under strain, digital systems lied in new ways. Links could be spoofed. Channels could fail. Paper still had the decency to remain itself while the world ended. Some names came from professional registries, some from medical scoring, some from link-confirmed dependency trees. Others came from helix viability profiles, built years before any of them knew what they were truly being tested for. One name stopped him: Naomi Bell. For half a second, Noah was back in Lecture Theater B, watching her understand the impossible before anyone else. Then the system asked him to confirm her evacuation route. Noah blinked once. The room came back.
Doctor.
He looked up. Commander Elara Voss stood 2 stations over, her black uniform immaculate even now. Amber command data moved behind her eyes as if the whole of Ark Facility 12 had gathered inside her skull. Noah was beginning to understand that composure was not the absence of fear in her. It was how she carried it.
How many confirmed from your branch?
Noah looked back to the manifest. The numbers blurred for half a second, then became numbers again because the room demanded it.
Propulsion, cryogenic systems, structural resilience, long-range navigation, and systems ethics.
I am unfortunately asking all of that, yes.
Then, unfortunately, I have an answer.
Try to make it useful.
312 assigned across the technical cohort, 186 already on site, 74 confirmed en route, 21 unreachable, 9 declined, 16 link conflicts pending biometric resolution. The rest are being pulled from internal quarters and fabrication duty.
A routing officer at the next console looked across.
Declined?
Noah did not look at her.
Apparently.
Reasons?
He checked the side notes.
1 refused to leave a hospital ward. 2 will not come without unlisted family. One says the project was immoral when it was secret and remains immoral now that it is real.
His thumb stopped on the next line.
The others are fear, mostly.
Nobody judged that aloud. They did not have the luxury. Above them, the central wall continued to update. Cryo capacity, 7,000. Awake crew rotation, 312. Primary shipboard quarters, active. Dependent allocation, locked. Non-essential appeals, suspended. Noah stared at the figures for half a second too long. 7,000 people in cryo. A few hundred awake in rotation to keep the vessel alive. Scientists, engineers, medics, security teams, agricultural specialists, children of essential personnel, spouses, ministers, billionaires, contractors, patrons. The people who had built the Ark, funded it, guarded it, or governed it. And everyone else outside the equation.
Reclassify the hospital case.
Noah looked up.
What?
The one who refused to leave the ward. Find out whether medical continuity can fold the ward staff into another Ark manifest.
You are serious.
Yes.
That opens precedent.
Her eyes flicked to the wall of names, then returned to him.
It saves one life if we're lucky. Do it.
He held her gaze for a moment. There it was again. The machine and the human inside it, wrestling without showing blood. Noah entered the flag. That was Ark 12 now. Morality by loophole under extinction conditions. A recall routing technician hurried past carrying a stack of emergency identity bands. Physical backups, because even in 2055, when the sky began falling, people still wanted something they could hold.
London direct line is out.
Cobra wants facility readiness in live figures, not estimates.
Elara turned immediately.
Patch them to Strategic 1.
Then she looked to Noah.
You are coming.
Why?
Because if Central asks whether 7,000 cryobirths can survive an emergency launch profile, I want the man who knows the true answer in the room.
It's nice to be wanted.
Good. You're adapting.
Then she moved. Noah followed because the alternative was thinking. The Strategic 1 chamber had once been called the Executive Coordination Room, back when someone still believed the right naming convention could stop panic from smelling the walls. Now, it was simply the room where decisions became irreversible. The main screen held a secure feed from Cobra. Prime Minister Thomas Ainsley sat at the head of a long underground conference table, his face gray beneath bad lighting. His tie was loosened. His eyes carried the strange wide focus of a man forced past politics and into consequence faster than his species had evolved to handle. Ainsley had already recorded a national holding address. Calm face, controlled wording, reassurance balanced against instruction. Enough truth to move people, not enough to detonate the country before the evacuation system could breathe. It had not yet been released. That mattered. A message to the nation was politics. This room was triage. Around him sat ministers, chiefs of staff, military command, intelligence leads, emergency science advisors, and two pale civil servants who looked as if they had been born to record history and hated that history had finally become visible. On the side screens, world leaders and command feeds occupied split channels. Washington, Beijing, Brussels, New Delhi, Tokyo, Canberra, Moscow, Geneva. Some had cameras on, some were voice-only now. One feed flickered beneath mounting signal distortion. The American National Security Advisor was already speaking when Elara and Noah joined the call.
All available readings confirm the same conclusion. This is not an orbital deterrence event or a conventional attack posture. The structure is driving directed resonance into the planet's core. We are beyond first strike theory. This is an extinction-level event.
Noah stopped near the rear command rail. There it was again. Not possible. Still happening.
Our modeling teams agree. Core destabilization is no longer hypothetical. The stress wave pattern is accelerating. If resonance continues at its current rate, crustal failure becomes globally cascading, not regional. We are not discussing disaster zones. We are discussing planetary integrity.
Has any contact attempt yielded a response?
Silence followed. Not empty, humiliating.
No.
Another screen opened, layered with the evidence of humanity's failed attempt to be heard. Mathematical hails, symbolic patterns, multilingual diplomatic channels, military challenge bands, civilian emergency broadcasts, machine language strings assembled in panic by the best communication theorists left on Earth. Every nation had added its own voice to the same desperate question. The Americans sent challenge protocols and deep space radio bursts. China transmitted structured mathematical sequences through orbital relays. Japan used machine-coded symbolic logic and patterned light. The African Union broadcast in hundreds of human languages, then in music, rhythm, and image. Europe sent diplomatic channels layered with law, greeting, and surrender. Britain, because Britain was still Britain, had sent a calm recorded request for identification, intention, and preferred method of communication. None of it mattered. Nothing. Not refusal. Not acknowledgement. Nothing.
We are trying to communicate with an entity that appears to regard our presence as incidental to the work it came here to do.
Noah felt the room tighten around that, because it was the ugliest possible analogy, because it felt right.
There has to be some further attempt, a delay protocol, a language bridge, anything.
If there is, we have not found it. The object is not posturing. It is not negotiating. It is not even signaling contempt. It is conducting a process.
Extraction, Noah thought. He had not said the word outside orbital analysis yet. Now it seemed to live everywhere.
Ark status, all commands.
The screen divided again. 42 hidden attempts at survival appeared as status panels across the global wall. Some were national, some coalition-built, some disguised inside climate vaults, defense shelters, deep-sea research stations, private aerospace consortiums, or remote construction zones that had never appeared on any public map. Every one of them had been sold to its government as contingency. Every one of them had become judgment.
European Ark 7 is at 81% launch readiness. Cryogenic loading incomplete. We can launch, but not with full complement.
South Atlantic Ark 3 has suffered surface access collapse. We are attempting secondary intake. Launch viability uncertain.
Indian Ark 9 is structurally complete. Passenger loading is behind profile. We require 47 minutes minimum.
Ark 21 can launch under emergency ban. We have lost 2 external guidance LS, but compensate to onboard navigation.
Southern Ark 4 reports a propulsion fault in the secondary drive ring. We can lift, but we may not clear orbital debris if conditions degrade.
Ark 17 is launch capable. Passenger loading incomplete. Military and technical complement aboard. We will not wait for full civilian intake.
There was no time left for moral theater. One by one, the reports came in. Ready, not ready, viable, compromised, surface access blocked, cryo sector offline, drive ring unstable, guidance uncertain. Too many Arks built by frightened nations. Not enough time for any of them to become the miracle their architects had promised. Then the Beijing channel expanded. The room changed before anyone spoke. The Chinese command chamber was calm. Not peaceful, not relaxed. Calm in the way only a machine already in motion could be calm. China had never trusted the solar flare warning that founded Arkfall. It had trusted the access Arkfall gave it. Shared lattice research, propulsion theory, cryogenic systems, and time to build. Rows of operators sat beneath a vast wall of deep space telemetry. Behind them, a projection showed Chinese Ark 1 in its launch cradle. Hull sealed. Cryo complement secured. Drive status green across every major system.
Chinese Ark 1 reports full launch readiness, cryogenic complement secured, awake command crew aboard, lattice core stable, navigation locked.
Full readiness?
Yes.
You are saying you are already loaded?
We detected the first deep band signal anomaly 14 hours before global confirmation.
A silence passed through the network. Noah felt his skin prickle. 14 hours.
Our deep space radio arrays and lunar relay instruments registered non-natural signal compression beyond standard orbital traffic. Initial analysis suggested directed extrasolar transmission or masking interference. We moved to pre-activation before consensus was reached.
You did not share it.
We shared a preliminary advisory through restricted scientific channels. It was not accepted as actionable.
That was not quite an accusation. It did not need to be.
By the time the resonance field was visible to conventional systems, Ark 1 was already sealed.
Noah looked at the green status markers on their display. Not half-built, not scrambling, not negotiating with its own passenger lists. Ready. Elara watched the feed without visible reaction, but Noah saw the smallest movement in her jaw.
We are initiating departure sequence.
Now?
Yes, further delay lowers survival probability. We will transmit trajectory and resonance avoidance data to all Ark partners still receiving.
You are leaving the network.
The Chinese official looked at him. For the first time, something like grief entered his face.
We are leaving Earth.
The words carried no cruelty. That made them worse.
To all commands, may your vessels hold. May your people wake. Good luck on your journey.
The Beijing feed shifted to launch telemetry. Then the live channel closed. For a moment, Strategic 1 remained silent. Noah stared at the empty space where the Chinese command chamber had been. Then a new marker appeared on the global map. Ark 1. Launch active. Somewhere on the far side of the planet, humanity's first continuity vessel began to climb. The Prime Minister turned back towards Strategic 1, as if remembering Britain had not yet earned the right to despair.
Ark 12.
That was Elara's cue. She stepped forward into the camera frame with the exact economy that made entire rooms unconsciously brace.
Ark Facility 12 is under full Arkfall activation. Cryogenic loading teams are standing by. Priority cohorts are moving through clearance and medical processing. Guidance, propulsion, life support, and environmental systems are operating under accelerated threshold.
Can you launch?
Elara did not answer immediately. Instead, she turned her head slightly.
Dr. Kepler.
Noah felt every eye in Strategic 1 move towards him. Of course! This was why she had brought him. He stepped forward, aware of the global feeds, the ministers, the generals, the scientists, and President Rourke watching from Washington. All of them were waiting for a number clean enough to believe. There was not one.
Ark 12 was not scheduled for full departure readiness. Not yet. The hull is sealed enough for launch, but not finished in the way any engineer would call finished. Cryo capacity is 7,000, but full loading under emergency conditions introduces risk across power distribution, thermal regulation, and life support handover.
Can it leave Earth?
Noah looked once towards Elara. She gave him nothing. No rescue, no softening, only the truth.
Yes, it can leave.
A murmur moved through the screen feeds. Noah continued before hope could become too comfortable.
But not cleanly. Not safely by normal standards. We would be launching with incomplete redundancies, untested bypasses, and several systems running hot from the first minute. The awake crew can operate in rotation, but the majority of passengers must be in cryo before departure or immediately after ascent. If we overload the awake quarters, resource modeling collapses within weeks.
Define running hot.
Beyond preferred tolerance. Within emergency tolerance. For a while.
For a while?
Noah swallowed.
Long enough to get away, if nothing else fails.
Silence. That was the answer no one wanted, and everyone had needed.
In operational terms, structural launch readiness is incomplete, but viable under emergency profile. Cryogenic loading is the limiting factor. Propulsion can fire, guidance can plot. Environmental systems can sustain a reduced awake crew. Ark 12 can launch.
But Dr. Kepler is telling me it may not survive the journey.
Noah answered before Elara could.
I am telling you, no one has ever asked a half-finished Ark to outrun the death of a planet.
The words landed harder than he intended. He forced himself to continue.
But if the question is whether staying gives us a better chance, then no, it does not. Launching is dangerous. Staying is fatal.
That is our position.
The Prime Minister lowered his eyes for half a second, then looked back up.
Understood.
Then the Washington channel expanded. President Jonathan Rourke leaned forward into frame, older in that moment than he had looked in any public image Noah had ever seen.
We are preparing a full retaliatory strike.
No one in Strategic 1 moved.
All nuclear-capable states with functioning launch chains are being asked to commit simultaneous fire. Surface-based, submarine, orbital reserve, the lot. We hit it with everything. If this thing intends to crack open our world, then it will learn we do not die politely.
There it was, the old Earth reflex. Violence as dignity, when dignity had already been stolen. And yet Noah felt, sickeningly, that he understood it. This time, agreement did not come.
Objection. Full-spectrum nuclear release will contaminate multiple ascent corridors. Our Ark's planned exit vector pass us within projected debris expansion from Pacific orbital intercept. We cannot support a strike before Ark launches are clear.
Kenka. Near orbital detonations will produce electromagnetic effects, charged particle bloom, in the debris fields we cannot accurately model under current resonance distortion. You may cripple the only vessels capable of carrying survivors.
Several coalition arcs are still loading. Some require fixed launch windows. If you detonate the global arsenal across shared escape lanes, you may save no one and blind half the guidance infrastructure in the process.
Radiation turbulence is an acceptable risk compared with planetary destruction.
No, it is not acceptable if it prevents the Arks from leaving.
A silence followed.
The Arks are not all leaving. You know this.
Everyone knew.
Some are unfinished, some are trapped, some are already dead and have not received the report yet. Do not pretend this is a clean evacuation problem. It is selection under fire.
The words entered the room like smoke.
Then all the more reason to strike while we still have launch authority.
You are thinking like a nation under attack. This is not a war.
It became war when that thing touched our planet.
No more. War assumes an opponent, strategy, deterrence, intention. This is extraction. If we strike and it adapts, we may accelerate the process.
Nuclear contact at that scale could worsen core instability.
The Prime Minister closed his eyes for half a second. The entire world seemed to wait inside that breath.
And doing nothing is your alternative?
Give every viable arc a window, 30 minutes. Even 20.
We do not have 30 minutes.
You do not know that.
No. I know that every minute we wait, that machine digs deeper into the only home we have.
If they unload everything into that object while the arcs are still inside atmosphere or climbing through low orbit, the aftermath could close the safest routes. EMP, debris, ionized particle bloom, sensor blindness, shock effects through the magnetosphere. Guidance will degrade. Across the screens, the argument fractured. Some leaders demanded delay. Some demanded launch first authority. Some wanted a limited strike. Some wanted full release. Some had already lost command of their own territory and were speaking for countries that might not exist by the time their words finished crossing the network. Then the American president did what powerful men often did when consensus failed and time ran out. He stopped asking.
The United States will fire.
A stillness followed, not agreement, recognition.
Any state wishing to coordinate may coordinate. Any state wishing to preserve its arsenal for a later moment is welcome to explain that choice to whatever remains of its people. We are out of time. We strike in 7 minutes.